This tutorial is going to cover command line arguments. Before we begin, make sure that you have Java and the Java JDK downloaded on your computer. You can run java-version in your terminal to check. Also make sure that you have IntelliJ downloaded on your computer. It suggests that you watch the previous Java tutorials in this same playlist before watching this one. So where do the command line arguments live? They actually live in this string array here in the main method's parameter lists. And we've just been ignoring it up to this point, but now we're actually going to be using this args array. Using the string args array, you can use the command line args array just like any other array of strings. You can access its elements in the same way, and all other array methods apply. String args will be split on the spaces of the words or numbers entered for the command line arguments. But if you enter numbers for the command line arguments, they're still going to be read in as strings for args, since args is going to be an array of all strings. So here's an array refresh. To have array access, it would be string x equals args, and then in hard braces, the index that you're trying to access, in my case 3. Array modification, you would have args hard braces equals, and then whatever string you want to equal, in this case 4. And then getting the array length, it would be int x equals args.length. And you would just call .length like you want any other array to get how long it is. So arrays, like strings and everything else in Java, are 0 indexed. This means the first element is at index 0, the second element is at index 1, and so on. So how to enter command line arguments? Via IntelliJ, you would go to Run, and then Edit Configurations, and then choose the program you want to edit the command line arguments for. Enter the command line arguments in the Program Arguments section, hit the Apply button, and then hit OK. And that'll put in the command line arguments. If you're doing it via the command line, you would do Java, and then the program name, and then the list of arguments you want separated by spaces. Reminder, converting strings to numbers. To convert from a string to an integer, you would do integer.parseInt and then the number string. To convert from a string to a double, you would do double.parseDouble and then the number string. And for float, it would be float.parseFloat and so on. Watch out for array index out of bounds exceptions. These will get thrown if you try to access past the end of an array. You can avoid this by checking the size of your string args array before accessing its elements. When to use command line arguments? You would use a command line argument when there is some configuration you want to set up for your Java program. For example, you might have a program that does several different things and you want to give arguments to indicate which one. Or you might know your program does something like add together two numbers and you want to input those as command line arguments instead of user input. Okay, so we're going to look at Foreach loops for the first time. A Foreach loops is a way for you to quickly run over an array or other list of elements one at a time. An example with a string array is below. So it would be 4, and then instead of the normal int whatever, it would be string s, where string is the type of array that we're looking at, that we're going to run over, and then colon, and then strings. And at this point, you would do something with s, and now for every run of the loop, s takes on a value from strings. So the first time the loop runs, it'll be the thing at index 0. The second time it runs, it'll be the thing at index 1, and so on. And in this case, you only want to use Foreach loops when you're just going to be accessing the element. If you're going to be changing the array or doing anything to modify the list of things you're running over, you don't want to use a Foreach loop. Only use it for access only. So strings is the array or list we're looking at, string is the type, and s will take on every value in strings, one's value for every time the loop runs. So now for some exercises. Let me get this set up in split screen. I want new package, command line arguments. New Java class, line argument, exercises. Double click to make the left pane go away. As always, public static void main string lives. Okay, and actually, I'm going to delete this and I want to write a new program called average. Public static void main string args. Write a program called average, which I just created, that finds the average of its command line arguments. It should be able to handle any number of command line arguments and should catch any exceptions that might arise. For example, if a command line argument happens to not be a number. It should throw an illegal state exception if there are no given command line arguments. So, first I want to get the length of my command line arguments. So length equals args.length. Then I'm going to say if length is 0, throw new illegal state exception. No command line arguments given. Oops, I don't need that semicolon here. Okay, else I'm going to keep track of a double sum. I'm going to start out at 0, and then I'm going to run over everything in args. And I'm going to go ahead and do a for each loop. So for string arg in args. I'm going to do a try catch just on the off chance that it's not a double, because I'm going to do sum plus equals double dot parse double arg. And if I get an exception, I'm going to system.out.println given, move this over, add more space, given an argument that wasn't a number. And if I get all the way through that, being able to parse everything, I'm going to say double average equals sum divided by length. And then I'm going to go ahead and print out the average. I'm going to go ahead and throw a new illegal state exception here too. Arguments. Okay. Now let's see. I'm going to do run, and I'm going to do average. And the first time I run, it's not going to have any command line arguments. So I'm going to get this. I'm going to get my illegal state exception, no command line arguments given. And I want to do run, edit configurations, and then for average, I want to give these 5 command line arguments. And let's do 3, because I know this adds to 6, so the average will be 2. And I'll do apply and OK. And do run again for average. And I got the average was 2. Great. So that works as expected. Let's see what happens if I give it a CLA that's not a number. So hello instead of 2. Then I run it. So given an argument that wasn't a number. Great. So it can handle no arguments, arguments that are all numbers, and a non-number CLA, just like I expected it to. Great. Let's see what the next exercise is. Write a program called Echo that takes in a command and argument and simply prints them back out to the screen, like the Echo Linux program does. This program should throw an illegal state exception if there are no given CLAs. Hint, use a Foreach loop to make things easier. Okay. So, new Java class, Echo. Public static void main string args. I'm going to go ahead and copy this from Echo, or from average. And now I'm going to do for string arg and args, system.out.print len arg. And that's it. So let's see. Run, echo. And so right now it has no command and arguments. And I get no command or arguments given for the error, which is what I expect. And then I do run, edit configurations, hello world, apply, and then run. It has hello and then world. It's just like I expected, 1 per line. Now this is just the way, this is a way to get it 1 per line. If I wanted to do it actually one right after the other, instead of doing a print len, I would want to do a print plus a space. And there we go. Hello world, all in 1 line. Okay, so the practice for later is to edit your Hangman program to make the answer come from a command line argument instead of a constant at the top. It should be able to be single or multi-word. If there are no command line arguments given, throw an illegal state exception with information explaining about what went wrong. And that's it. I hope that was helpful.